Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to disassemble this Ultegra rear derailleur. This is the 6700 model. I've done a few Ultegra derailleurs. It looks like I'm going to be probably doing them all at one point. There's a couple of differences that are quite noticeable compared to the older one, other than just the sheer design, and you have this top layer of paint. Specifically though, something that I noticed that I thought was quite interesting was, and I hope they do this on all their derailleurs now, or something that was missing at least on the older derailleurs, and I'm going to just zoom in to show you that. So if you look right here, the this stopper plate, it's been reinforced. I've had quite a few derailleurs where these are, well, mangled. They've been damaged from impact, and it's a bit of a weakness actually on these derailleurs, and it's nice to see that finally Shimano had put some sort of reinforcement on this part here in particular. Something else I thought was interesting, unlike the last Ultegra model that I worked on, you can see here this bolt that's attaching the jockey wheel cage to the bottom knuckle. You can see here this is not integrated inside the actual plate itself. It's kind of sticking out. It's very likely that maybe this somehow reduces the wear on the inside of this jockey wheel cage, which eventually leads onto play in between here. So we're going to disassemble it. We're going to have a look what's inside close up. This derailleur is pretty clean, so it doesn't look like I'm going to have a lot to clean on it, thank goodness. I did purely just get this just so I could have a look at it. In fact, the seller gave me this one and the next model, which was I think it's the 6000. Yeah, so I've also got the Ultegra 6800 to work on next. We're going to remove the jockey wheels. Let's remove this bolt for the bottom knuckle. Wow, this one's very hard. I'm going to make sure it gets in there. I don't want to strip that. Okay, that's so hard to remove. I'm thinking maybe if I remove this, it's going to take off a bit of tension. So I'm going to remove the stopper here. Man, that's also hard to take off. I couldn't even remove the this part here. I've started to mangle the threading, so I managed to loosen this eventually, but I had to exert quite a lot of force to just get this turning, and even now it's so hard. Right, it's loosened up. Crazy. That's the first time that's ever happened to me. You can see on the interior there's they've used something else, probably some sort of press fitted part. So the spring, have the washer. You can now remove this bolt. Oof, that is dry. And next to that bolt there's a very thin washer as well, and there's a seal that we can take off. I managed to get it off using a plier. That's the first time that's ever happened to me on a derailleur, which is so weird because this one's not even it's not even rusty, nothing. It's just so tight. So next we're going to work on the top knuckle. You have this clip at the back. So you're going to need something sharp to get underneath it or behind it and clip it out. Be careful with your fingers here. This can suddenly spring off. I'm now going to move my fingers away. So I'm going to lift it up from underneath. And that's going to release very soon. Oop, there you go. I'm going to remove this now. On the other side we've got a spring. We can push through the hanger bolt, and there's a seal right here that we're going to take off. There you go. Right, well that's that done. I'm going to now just clean off some of that dirt, and we're going to reapply some grease on the dry parts, especially the bottom pivot. Right, so I've cleaned everything up. We're now going to put some grease onto the pivots and the springs notably, and then we can put it all back together again. First thing we're going to do is work on the bottom knuckle. I'm going to take the jockey wheel cage, and we're going to run the bolt through here. So you'll remember that this one has a small washer here at the bottom. I've already installed it back on at the bottom here, very, very thin washer. And we're going to pop that right there. In preparation, there's going to be a spring, and there's also a seal. The seal we're going to put back on now. Oh, that's the wrong one. Yeah, make sure you take the right seal. We're now going to take the spring. It looks fairly symmetrical on both sides actually. I'm going to pop the other end of that coil spring on the right hole, and the other end is going to go on the interior. There's a small hole, so that tip there is going to go into the hole at the back. Now before we do that, there's a washer that goes on the top of this bolt. You'll see on the interior of the washer that there's a kind of a groove on one side. That groove needs to go where the bolt is. So the very flat surface is going to go on the this way in this direction into the bottom bolt. So now I'm going to feel for the hole inside this spring. Okay, yeah, it's in. So now we're going to tighten down this bolt using a number 5 Allen key. Check that that's working. We're now going to bring this back, and we're going to need to put that stopper screw that stopper into the hole right here. I've put a screwdriver in front, so that way I've got so this is holding open for me while I work on it. You can now remove the screwdriver, and that should be good. We're now going to work on the top knuckle. There's a seal right there, so I'm going to reinstall it. Put a single bit layer of grease on that, and we're going to grab that bolt, push that through. We can now take the other coil spring. There's one that's the tip is slightly shorter. The longer part's going to go actually inside the knuckle. We're going to put that in now. So again, there's a hole at the back here. Now I'm going to take the plate here, this stopper plate for the hanger bolt, or the B tension screw plate stopper. There's a seal. We're going to place that there on the top, and the other tip of that spring is going to go in the hole of the stopper plate right there. We now need to bring that stopper part right there in front of here. To do that, the easiest way for me anyway is going to be to take this 2.5 Allen key wrench. We're going to push that through the hole where that screw goes, and we're going to be able to use that as a leverage point to twist this around to the right place. So this is going to be going anti-clockwise and facing this direction. So we bring it back, and then you kind of want to just keep pushing down until it goes through. The bolt goes through that hole. Keep holding that in place. You grab the clip and a plier to click it back underneath. I'm going to put the jockey wheel plates back onto the wheels. So this is the G pulley which goes on the top. Since this is the short cage version of this derailleur, there was the long cage version as well. On the top of the derailleur, you're going to use the shorter pulley bolt, and at the bottom it's a longer one. So here it's 10.5 millimeters, I believe they've put, and then 12.5 at the bottom. So we're going to put this one on first. I don't ever put these too tight, so that way you can still move this about and align the other one easier. So final touches. Right, so interesting updates on this derailleur compared to the previous version. Maybe possibly better. Or it is better. So I hope this helped you reassemble and service your Ultegra rear derailleur. Thank you for listening, and until next time, peace out.